So the second novel, it's the second of the trilogy. It's called The Perfect Candidate.
Oh, very nice. You have it there.
Yes, it's right here. And this is the second part of the trilogy. And the first one is called Spy Interrupted the Waiting Wife. In this, it's the first is about the relationship, interpersonal relationship between the spy and his wife, who's an Indian American woman, very intelligent, very strong Indian American woman. And at the conclusion of that, he retires, but he still wants to continue in public service. So he decides to, run for the Senate from his home state of Massachusetts. So the story is about his Senate campaign, and there's a journalist who wants to take him down at all costs. So he starts off out of curiosity, but soon it becomes very personal. And so the whole book is about this tug of war between the journalist and the hero, who is Stephen Edward James, who comes from a very powerful, well-connected family. And so, the man will stop at nothing to tear him down. And so that's what the whole story is about this. How do these relationships play out against this very contentious election for the Senate seat?
And so the fictional hero, as you mentioned, Stephen James, who, quote, is principled, fearless, and wants to save the world, unquote. Who in this presidential race would you say reminds you of Stephen James, and why? Or at least has the potential to evolve into a Stephen James?
So, I mean, in terms of principles, there's no questioning that the closest person who comes to, in terms of ideological principles, is Bernie Sanders. So I would say in terms of principles and sticking to his guns, it has to be Bernie Sanders. But, I also like Hillary Clinton because she's knowledgeable, she's experienced, she's tough, and that's also a very important trait. And Stephen James has that in spades. So I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm leaning Democratic here.
Well, you have a piece of advice for Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump. What's your advice, and why? Especially since he's the Republican frontrunner, why should he take any advice from anyone? He's in the lead. He's winning.
Well, I think he wants to consolidate his win. I mean, right now, today's Michigan and, Missouri results, and of course, going into the winner takes all phase with Florida and Ohio coming up. I think with that, he'll kind of cement his lead. And he's actually really good at turning on a dime, because he seems to, whichever the way the wind blows, he'll kind of go around that. But if he really wants to...
Watch the remaining show on ITV Gold. Subscribe to ITV Gold on Time Warner Cable Channel 1539. ITV Gold is America's first full-time television channel that caters to the South Asian community. Your favorite dramas with English subtitles. Watch movies, back-to-back songs, award-winning local news coverage, and much, much more. Subscribe to ITV Gold on Time Warner Cable Channel 1539, part of the 8-channel combo pack for $39.95. And our East Coast viewers can also subscribe to ITV on RCN Channel 476 and Cablevision on Channel 116.